Fantastic. Thank you, David. We'll get started. Good evening, everybody. Thank you for joining us tonight. I am Eric Laxer. I'm our club president, and I will just have a couple of different roles to get us started today. We have a few folks who are absent, starting with our sergeant at arms. And the role of the sergeant at arms is to help get the meeting started and orient people to a couple of important things, such as if you're a guest and you have not done so, you could sign in at the back and make yourself a name tag. I think everybody has done that. We have excellent treats back there. Not really, but we like to think so. And if you're looking for restrooms, they're behind this wall that way. And the ladies is the first one, and the one for the gentlemen is on that side. With that, I would now like to mention a fun fact that something very important happened in our country on this day, June 4th, 1919. Can anybody tell me what that was? 1919, June 4th. Very important. No, not quite. So there was an amendment added to the U.S. Constitution, the 19th Amendment, allowing women to vote for the first time. Thank you. The other, not to be overshadowed by that, the other important point to know about June 4th is it's Hug Your Cat Day. So if you have a cat and you haven't hugged them when you go home, please do so today. With that, I would like to officially get our meeting started. We have a tradition here that our Vice President of Membership comes around the room and gives our guests a chance to introduce themselves. And before I call them up, I just want to let everybody know this is a chill environment. We're all here to learn. We're all friends. If you walk through the door, you're already a friend of ours. We're delighted to have you here. And we hope tonight is a fantastic experience and hopefully the beginning of further interactions with our club. With that in mind, please join me in welcoming our VP of Membership, Mr. Colin Stifler.
Thank you very much, Eric. Good evening, Queen City. Oh, come on. This group fought through the rain and the thunder and the wind to be here tonight, and that's the energy we're getting right now. Come on. How are we doing? Good. Woo! That's right. That's right. All right. Well, welcome to Queen City Toastmasters, the oldest public speaking and self-improvement laboratory in the Carolinas. My name is Colin. I'm our VP of Membership, as Eric mentioned. And what I'd like to do is to get to know our guests a little bit. So I'm going to come around with the mic. This is not a working mic as in projecting sound through the speakers, but it is transmitting to the digital environment where we have folks join us via Zoom. And if they don't join us via Zoom, it's still a recording of tonight's meeting. So it is important that you speak into the microphone when I come around. But I'd like to know from you a few things. Number one, what is your name? Number two, where are you from? Because no one's from here, right? Wrong. There are exceptions. There are exceptions. And then three, what brought you out? Why'd you come here tonight? You could have stayed home on the couch, cozied up in the Snuggie with your cat on Hug Your Cat Day, but you chose to be here. So we want to know about it. Tyler, how you doing? How are you, Tyler? Doing good.
Good evening. My name is Tyler Ferguson, and I'm actually from Charlotte. I'm born and raised here in Charlotte. So I am the unicorn that you're speaking of. And this is actually my second time at Toastmasters. So I came out a couple weeks ago and enjoyed the environment and all of the different speaking and the different tools that we all had going on with it. So I came back for a second go round and wanted to see what all the hype was going to be about tonight. So I'm excited and appreciate you guys having me out again. Awesome.
Good evening, everybody. My name is Philip Gottlieb. I, too, am a unicorn. I am from Charlotte, North Carolina. I decided to come out tonight because I want to improve upon my communication skills and become confident speaking with other people. So, thank you.
Awesome. Thank you very much, Philip. All right, Glenn.
Hello, my name is Glenn Emke. I am not from Charlotte. So I'm originally from Kansas. I've been in the Carolinas about 22 years. Currently live like north Kannapolis area. I am here tonight, just personal growth, career development. Asked my manager what I can do to improve to take me to the next level in my career journey. And they said, improve your public speaking. So go to Toastmasters. So I'm here.
Good evening. My name is Maisha Cromer, and I'm a unicorn too. So I'm from Charlotte, and I'm here today just to be able to get better at speaking as well. Like he said, improve your communication, be able to form better connections and relationships with other people. So yeah, thank you guys.
All right, we just had a couple folks walk in. What we're doing right now is we're kicking off the meeting as we normally do by asking our guests to introduce themselves, namely your name, where you're from, and what brought you out tonight. Just as a little heads up, this microphone, it is not transmitting sound through the speakers. It's actually for the benefit of folks online and the meeting recording that we make of the online meeting as well. So welcome.
How you doing, everyone? My name is Michael Brown, and I attended my first Toastmasters yesterday at the same location. It was a much smaller group, so I'm happy to be part of this one and check this out as well. I'm hoping to work on my confidence speaking in public and also better use of hand gestures and body language to correctly convey the message I want to convey. So nice to meet you guys.
Okay, understood. All right. Could we know your name, please?
Alexa.
Alexa, welcome, Alexa.
Hello, everyone. I'm Maddie Watson. I am from near Winston-Salem, but I lived in Knoxville, Tennessee for 7 years. So I just moved back to North Carolina recently. And I just found out about Toastmasters. I had never heard of it, and my husband convinced me to come with him. So here I am.
Everybody, I am Ryan Watson. I think you might have just heard a little bit about how I got here. Moved here from Knoxville about 6 months ago. Kind of on a self-improvement journey, and I think public speaking for me is the next natural step in that. So that's why I'm here.
All right, let's give it up for our guests one more time. Oh, I am so sorry. I was so sorry. We're saving the best for last over here. Jessica, please forgive me.
I was actually happy. I didn't have to talk. So my name is Jessica Coffey. I have been in the Charlotte area for almost 1 year. I moved from Sarasota, Florida here. And the reason I am attending this Toastmaster for the first time is because I hate public speaking, but the things you hate are sometimes the things you have to push towards. So that is why I'm here.
Give it up for Jessica. All right, quick moment of honesty. For all of our guests who I just came around to, raise your hand if you were just a little bit nervous when you took the mic into your hand and spoke. Could anyone tell? Could anyone tell? Not one bit. Not one of you seemed nervous. So that's a little factoid we like to share around here. There are studies that show that you only betray a small portion of the nervousness that you feel. It's usually imperceptible to other people. So let that fuel your confidence a little bit right there. Even if you felt nervous, even if you felt like we could tell, what I'm telling you right now is no one could tell. So with that being said, let's kick this meeting off right. We're going to turn it back over to Eric, who is going to start the engine for us. Eric.
Big hand for Colin. Big hand. They love you, Colin. Just want to point out to people who may not have seen these before, these are at your table. There are pens there. You'll see during the meeting, we have formal evaluations of our speakers, but this is an opportunity if you want to let somebody know a suggestion or a compliment who comes up here, you could just write their name on the back, comments on the other side, fold it up, and you could give it to them or just give it to one of us and we'll hand it to them. One of the funnest parts of our weekly meeting is when we acknowledge and recognize our new members because our club thrives on new members. And tonight I'm delighted to officially welcome to Queen City Toastmasters, who I'll invite up for just a moment. Pooja Patel, please give her a warm welcome. Toastmasters is very big on ribbons. Can you just read that so the crowd knows exactly what I've given you? Very important what's on there.
Welcome to Toastmasters, where leaders are made.
Well done. And another point for our guests, people who come up here, who you're going to see from this point forward in the meeting, they've signed up for roles, and we all take turns doing different roles in the meeting. And whoever comes up will usually explain to you what their role is. One of the most important roles every week is the person who leads this meeting. And that's relevant because for those of you who are here because you want to enhance your performance or opportunities at work, if your supervisor calls you and says, hey, we want to schedule a meeting next month, I want you to lead it, give you some instructions, it's really helpful to have a place where you could go practice and learn how to do it properly. And this is the place to do that. Our Toastmaster of the day this evening has a very interesting theme I'm excited to hear, which is gym etiquette. Sounds like somebody who might be running for Congress next election cycle, but we'll probably hear more about that. So please join me in giving a very warm welcome to tonight's Toastmaster of the day, Tom Williams.
Good evening. So, looking at the crowd, I can see that we have a lot of gym rats in here. Anybody here go to the Dowd YMCA? Mamita? Yasmin? No? Okay, well, I got some beef. I go in the afternoon, Monday through Thursday, sometimes on Friday, 12 to 1:15. And at least 2 times a week, there is a man there. Let's call him Jack. He takes up residence on the leg raise machine thing, and he puts a yoga mat out next to it. And if I see him, I'm not getting on the leg raise. He will post up there for like 30 to 45 minutes. I can't stand this guy. He lives rent-free in my head. So he is the inspiration for this meeting tonight, because obviously everyone here is a gym regular, so I probably don't need to tell you these things. But if you are not, or if you are thinking about maybe going to the gym and you're intimidated by it because you don't know how to act, maybe I can give you some pointers that will make you a little bit more comfortable there. So before I go any further, much in the way that Jack inspired my theme tonight, I want to call up another one of my fellow Toastmasters who is going to inspire everybody with a thought. Mr. John Capella.
Thank you, Toastmaster Tom. My name is John Capello. I am going to serve as your inspirational thought master tonight. Now, I've been out for a few weeks, and it's not like me. And I've always said, given our theme tonight is about gym memberships, that coming to Toastmasters is a lot like coming to the gym. What do I mean by that? What I mean by that is when you come here repetitively, you start to change your perception of public speaking. If you had this preconceived notion that public speaking was somehow a life-threatening exercise, something that makes your heart go pitter-patter, well, something happens when you repeatedly do something. Think about when you go in the gym and you're pressing your hands against that iron and you're pumping out a lot of reps. What happens to your hands? Calluses. Now, when you come to Toastmasters and you repeatedly come up to this podium, you develop calluses on your mind. Calluses on your mind so that the next time you do it, it's not so scary. And that's the whole point. And that's why you'll often hear a lot of us say, come, I'll see you next Tuesday, get in your reps, sign up for roles. So that's something I wanted to start and share with you. But even though I don't come, I always like to watch, and this is another plug for the reason we have this connectivity via YouTube is that you can go back and watch your performance, see things that you do, your hand gestures, how you behave, where you stumbled, etc. It's a great tool just to watch yourself. And I keep an eye even when I don't come. And I figured it was time to call out some of the particular Toastmaster gym rats, people that I have noticed that are improving, because I can think of nothing more inspirational than people that are progressing. Because I think too often in our journey, we don't notice the progress ourselves. We have to have someone else tell us. And so for a moment, I want to call out a few people. Momita, absolute bulldog. I saw her come in here, very timid, very, very soft-spoken. And she has been an absolute bulldog. If you members decide to join, I'm telling you, just talk to Momita for the success formula and learn what true dedication is. Because her ability to come up here each and every week, that's what it's all about. That's what juices that get it flowing. Yasmin, you're another one. I've noticed significant improvement from when you first walked in here to where I see you now. Little things like filler words that you've eradicated from your speech, the habitual things that we are trying to teach here. And finally, I'd like to call out Colin. Now, Colin has always been this person. He's been here he's a veteran Toastmaster. He's had this witty humor about it, but he's really taken it to the next level, and congratulations on being nominated as our future Toastmaster president of Queen City. So another hand of applause for Colin. But this is the inspiration to me. I can think of no inspiration than seeing other people who come in here, much like all you guests, thinking that you don't yet have what it takes. And with dedication and with relentless pursuit, you will start to notice something on your Toastmaster journey. And that's the space between where you started from and where you are now. Kudos to all of you. Toastmaster.
No one does it better than John. And did y'all notice how he wove the theme into his speech? It's truly impressive because I told him about 10 minutes ago what the theme was going to be. So next up, I want to bring up a couple other Toastmasters who are going to be helping run the meeting tonight. You might want to refer to them as my left arm and my right arm. Starting with Mr. Rockney to tell us about the timer rule.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Rockney Bryant, and I will be your timer for this evening. So we have three main segments that we're going to be timing. The first segment is going to be the prepared speeches that we have for tonight. Then also table topics and the evaluation speeches. So say, for example, for the table topic speeches, you pretty much approximately have 3 minutes to do them. So say, for example, at the 1 minute mark, I will hold up the green sign. Then at the 2 minute mark, I will hold up the yellow sign. And then at the 3 minute mark, I will hold up the red sign. Oh, 1 to 2? Oh, sorry. So do you start over? Oh, I can. How many minutes is it for table tacos? It's 3? Oh, it's 1 to 2 minutes. Oh, okay. I thought, okay. So say, for example, so 1 to 2 minutes for table topics. So hold up the green. Then I will hold up the yellow. And then I will hold up the red. That pretty much says wrap it up. And then I want to say with the evaluations, is it 5 minutes? Oh, 2 to 3. And then also when it comes to the prepared speeches, it's 5 minutes, 5 to 7 minutes. Okay. So that's pretty much it. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Rockney. Who's my grammarian tonight? Oh, we have Pooja taking on her first role as grammarian. Everybody give her a big round of applause.
Hi, everyone, fellow Toastmasters guests. My name is Pooja. I'll be filling in the role for grammarian. So I'll be taking note of all the filler words, like, like, I just said like. And I'll be giving a report on that at the end of the meeting. For today's meeting, the word is going to be hullabaloo, which means a clamorous noise or disturbance. An example of using the word is cats often engage in hullabaloo in response to shower time by shrieking and jumping out of the bathtub. Each speaker is encouraged to use the word of the day, and I'll give the grammarian's report when called upon. Thank you.
Thank you. All right. Rule of etiquette number 1. Clean up after yourself. Sometimes in all the hullabaloo of the gym, you may forget to wipe down your machine or put your weights away, but you better not forget. Now, to be fair, there are a couple exceptions to this rule. These are my exceptions. If you Google gym etiquette, they're not going to tell you about these. So the exceptions to wiping down your machine are going to be if someone has asked to work in with you and you leave first, it's the responsibility of the last person on the machine to wipe it down. Or if somebody is coming to use it after you and you ask them, you kind of like have your headphones in, you go nonverbal and you're like, you want me to wipe it down? And they say, no, you're good. You don't have to do that. And finally, if the wipes or the spray has run out, my rule is I'm not walking more than 2 stations away to get that. Just being honest. Then when putting your weights away, you should always put your weights away. However, certain machines, I do believe, are better left with weight on them. So for example, the leg press, very few people are doing less than 4 plates on there. So you can comfortably leave 4 plates on there. It also depends on the gym that you're at. If you're at like a serious gym where people are all walking around really swole, then you can probably leave a little bit more weight on there. But if you're at Planet Fitness, you better put everything away. All right, that's my first rule of etiquette. We're going to transition into the next part of our meeting, which is prepared speeches. That's my first prepared speech. Oh, she already got a shout out. She's here to show you what's up. Miss Momita been doing the heavy lifting around here with her speech today, which
Thank you, Toastmaster Tom. When the lasagna content gets low in my blood, I get mean. I'm not messy. I'm organizationally challenged. Esteemed guests and fellow Toastmaster, these are the few famous dialogue of our adorable, charming comic character, Garfield. The Monday hating, the lasagna loving, orange tabby cat created by Jim Davis. Garfield made his debut in June 1978 and quickly became a cultural icon. The appeal is rooted to his personality. He's lazy, sarcastic, and unapologetically himself. The best thing of Garfield is he's refreshingly honest about his vices. He loves to eat, sleep, and make witty observation about the world around him, especially the daily annoyances. Garfield resonates among most of us because he embodies our own guilty pleasure, the pet peeves. Who has not felt the disdain, Garfield's disdain for Monday, or deep appreciation for a delicious meal? Through his interaction with his owner, John Abaker, and his canine friend, Odie, he brings humor to the daily life situations. In celebrating Garfield, we celebrate the power of creativity, how a simple idea can be executed brilliantly. Jim Davis took a daily life of a cat and transformed it into a global empire, proving that an ordinary thing can be made extraordinary with the right touch of humor and insights. So Garfield is universal and timeless. Let's raise a toast to the cat who taught us to laugh at life's inconveniences and to savor each bite of lasagna. I just want to use this word. It sounds fun. Hula bulu. Thank you.
Very topical speech. Thank you very much. I think that we can all really appreciate Garfield, especially when he says, I hate Mondays. I too hate Mondays. Thankfully, it's Tuesday. Etiquette number 2, don't drop your weights. This is the thing that pisses me off the most. And I will say something to you if you're a random person. Now, we all have that image of big old guy what's that old Batman movie? Bane? Looks like Bane in the Batman movie. And he's deadlifting and he drops the weights. That is not what that guy normally looks like. That guy actually normally weighs about 150 pounds, looks like he hasn't showered in a couple days, and hasn't shaved either. And I'm talking about you, Colin. And he's up dropping the 50-pound dumbbell. So do not drop your weights. You will look like a douche, and it's very dangerous. The weight could bounce and hit somebody. I know this because I once dropped weights, and thank God I was in an empty gym because they went flying. Exceptions to this rule, absolutely none if you're in a public gym. Don't do this. However, if you are an Olympic or professional weightlifter and you're in a very special gym where a professional person is advising you and watching you and tells you to do that, then maybe you can do it. Remember, if you can pick it up, you can put it back down safely. So, transitioning into our next portion of the meeting, we're going to do table topics, which is our improvisational section. This is an opportunity for guests to participate. You will have, as Rocky said, 1 to 2 minutes to speak. And if you pay attention to him, you will know when you're done speaking. So, a master of table topics. The last time he did this, he put me on the spot. So I cannot wait to see what he does to the rest of y'all today. Mr. David Jones.
Thank you. All right, so table topics is impromptu speaking. It's like just meeting somebody at a bar or party and you're just talking to them for a couple of minutes about something random that they will say to you. And we say go for the green, which is 1 minute. So if you come up here, go for the green. But I do want to qualify something quickly with all the hullabaloo that was going on during the introduction. We are actually the third oldest club in North Carolina. We're the oldest club in Charlotte, North Carolina. Asheville is the oldest, and then there's a club over in the Winston-Salem area called, I think it's Winston-Salem Club. They're the second oldest, and then us in the state, but there we go. I have some interesting questions because I didn't know what the theme was. They're going to be topical as to my likes. Do I have anybody interested in doing one? There we go. Come on up. I left my glasses and you are Mike. That's right, Mike. All right, Mike, let me go to something easy for you. Show Seinfeld. Jerry and George were talking. Jerry asked George, if an alien came down and abducted you, took them back to your planet, and they gave you the opportunity to either be in their zoo or in their circus, which would you choose and why? Would you be in an alien zoo or circus? Mike, thanks.
All right. So that is a tough question. And for me personally, I'm a really big foodie. So my gut instinct says the circus is the one place where you're going to get poked and prodded and get free food. But the zoo is a place where you're going to get unlimited food and probably some petting in between. And that sounds like a lot more fun than being poked and prodded. So I would definitely say that being abducted by aliens and then having to pick between the zoo or the circus, I think the zoo sounds like the more fun place. And on top of that, I mean, you got a lot of different type of unique animals you get to conversate with. Now, you may not all be speaking the same animal language, but at least you get to be in a new place and try something new. So that's what I would do. So I appreciate the time and listening to me. So there you go.
Thank you, Mike. I have a Uncle Mike Brown who lives in Miami, FYI. Interesting. Another one? Yes, sir. Let me see. Okay. Yes, sir. Graham. Graham. Okay. We'll just say the name so the timer knows who to write down. This is a thinking person question. I know you're a thinking person. Okay. And the movie Alice in Wonderland. Did you see it? The one with Johnny Depp, or read the book? They're the same, pretty much. Okay. Well, all right. In the book, the Mad Hatter is always asking Alice a simple question. He asks her multiple times. Why is a raven, the blackbird, why is a raven like a writing desk? Now, obviously, you're not going to know the answer to that off the top of your head. So I want to see how you analyze, like, what does a raven do? And then maybe say, what does a writing desk or a desk do? And how do they combine? But the question is, why is a raven like a writing desk? Graham. Thanks.
Thanks for the question, David. I never thought you'd ask. I was hoping that was my question. So I guess the best way to start is to just characterize each element here in the comparison. So a raven, it's a large black bird. In like folklore, it's kind of a bad omen, or it can allude to death or darkness. A writing disc? Oh, desk. Okay. Gotta change up here. Okay, a writing desk is something that, I guess a desk is something you work at, or, symbolizes work. Writing it, or I assume that means flying, I don't know, means, kind of something absurd juxtaposed with something more serious and grounded. And the only comparison I can make here is that both are flying. Other than that, I have no real idea. So maybe you could, if your desk starts flying and you fall off, maybe you could die, and the raven would symbolize that. I don't know, but that's my thing. Thank you.
Thank you, Graham. At the end of the movie, Alice asked him to answer, and his answer was, I don't know. He totally made it up. There was no answer to it. So if you read the book or see it. Anybody else? Alan? Oh, okay. I got it. See, I have a question that you have to have high self-esteem. You have to be really confident in yourself. And I was waiting for the right person to come up. And it's a question that was asked by a former Toastmaster international speech contestant winner. And I've used it a few times as a great speech. Alan, why are you awesome? Why are you awesome, Alan?
How much time do I have? Fellow Toastmasters and guests, words cannot express why I am so awesome, but I'm going to try. I have been a Toastmaster for a little over 6 years now, and I have been a member of several clubs, and I'm kind of an honorary member of this one. And I live in Rock Hill, South Carolina, and I work for LPL Financial in Fort Mill, South Carolina. Normally, under average circumstances, it takes me about 50 to 60 minutes to get here. So I thought today would be no different. I left the LPL parking deck, which is right off of 77 and 160, about 5 miles south of the border. And it was about 6:45 when I finally walked in here. So I don't know what was going on in 77. There was at least one accident. And then, of course, I ran out of gas. The cruising range on my dash went from 16 miles to 0, just like that, which I think that's more of a glitch in the computer, but still it's like, all right, well, I got to go to the bathroom. I need gas. So I have to pull over off of Tyvola Road to get gas, go to the bathroom. The bathroom and the gas station's out of order, so I have to walk to McDonald's. There was too long of a line to order food, so I just had to come here hungry. And then the traffic light at the corner of Central and Hawthorne was out, so I had to pull into a parking lot, cut through it, cut across somebody else, go through like 3 rotations of the light at the corner of Hawthorne and the plaza. And so what normally is a 50 to 60-minute drive collectively took me 1 hour and 45 minutes. So I am awesome because I went through all that hullabaloo to get here and see all of you all. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. And you're in good company. I don't know if you saw on the news the NASCAR, the final lap, the guy was like in first place. Final lap, they did the white light or the white flag, and he ran out of gas. He didn't win. It was amazing. It just happened the other day. I don't watch NASCAR. Just saw it on TikTok. All right, who up? Jose, I think I saw you. Yep. Jose, welcome. All right, Jose, speaking of TikTok, I was watching, I love TikTok. I thought they were going to get rid of it, but it's still here, fortunately. So the interviewer asked, and it was a food show, and the interviewer asked the girl what her favorite dish was. And she said, it's a mug. It's comfortable in your hand, and you can hold hot things that you don't have to touch. I think she missed the point of the question, but what is your favorite dish, whether it's a dish or a dish that you eat? Jose.
All right. First of all, I know this is weird, but I don't have TikTok. I never watch TikTok, and yeah, it drives me crazy when my kids are on TikTok. I am all the time trying to like. If so, what is my favorite dish? My favorite dish, I have several. Well, I'm from Peru, from South America, and we are very well known for very good cuisine. And ceviche is one of my favorite dishes. It's kind of some raw fish, but it's not like the Japanese sushi. It's kind of cooked with lime and lemon. Yeah, so I would say that's my favorite dish.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Toastmaster, we have time for one more. One more? Yes, ma'am. Maisha. Maisha, awesome. All right. Well, I got to ask a question. Maisha, I'm going to go back to Alice in Wonderland. Did you see the Alice in Wonderland movie with Johnny Depp? All right. At the end, she's fighting that big dragon and she looks at the Mad Hatter and says, "This is impossible." Mad Hatter looks at her and says, "Only if you believe it is." And then in a contradiction, she responds to him and says, "Sometimes I believe 6 impossible things before breakfast." What impossible things do you think of on a regular basis that you want to accomplish? Goals or something that seem impossible, but are possible? Maisha, thanks.
This is a good question. Actually, I love this question because it pertains to what I'm doing right now, which is actually speaking in front of you all. I consider this to be a little impossible for me sometimes, to just be able to get out of my comfort zone and speak in front of people. It's been years that I have shied away from speaking to really, and it's really hindered me from opportunities. It's cost me so much. I've lost job opportunities, relationships, partnerships, all because I deemed speaking in front of people or communicating a little better, a little bit impossible. So I love this question and thank you for asking that. Yeah, that's it.
Thank you, Maisha. And you came to the right place. We've all been there. We've all had major struggles. And I'm going to turn it back over to our Toastmaster. Thank you. One of my favorite commercials was Planet Fitness when they do, "I lift things up, I put them down." I love that. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Wow. David Jones, he always kills it. 2 comments about that. 3 comments, actually. So to start off with, it's come to my attention that the word of the day was missing an O. Yeah, Yasmin just went off the rip. She did as good of a job as she could. However, Pooja, anybody who used the word before now was wrong because it was hulla below. Yeah, it starts now. 2, if anybody was wondering, my favorite dish is the large dinner bowls. I think that they are really great and really useful for a lot of stuff. Thank you. And 3, I went to Planet Fitness myself for like 2 years. So I've earned the right to hate on Planet Fitness. All right. Rule of etiquette number 3. Be courteous of others' space. So this means do not block somebody else's view of themselves in the mirror if you can help it. Don't hover around people and wait for them to finish up with the machine. Now, I know that only Momita joins me at the Dowd, but this is an epidemic at the Dowd. If you are going to hover around somebody's machine, you have 2 options that are acceptable. You can ask them to work in with them, or you can just go find something else to do. Because nobody wants to sit there and have somebody stare at them while they're trying to do their workout. Go get a life, please. And then don't set up in the middle of the floor if you don't have to. Go find yourself a nice little corner. And this kind of goes hand in hand with don't take up the space of somebody's view in the mirror of themselves. Okay. Exceptions to this rule is sometimes the gym is very busy and you just have to set up where you can. And I think that makes sense for hovering too, but if the gym is so busy that you have to hover, like you should just go at a different time or go to a different gym. I really don't like this behavior, if you can't tell. But someone who I do like the behavior of is coming up next to take us on the next section of our meeting. Mr. Colin Stifler is going to be doing the general evaluation. Come on up.
Thank you very much, Tom. Took my pre-workout before I came up here to deliver this evaluation, so we'll see how that goes. Good evening again, everyone. As Tom referenced, I'm serving as our general evaluator this evening. What does that mean? What is the point of the evaluation? We come to Toastmasters to get better, right? That's right. And the way that we do that is through evaluating one another, providing feedback that you're unlikely to get in any other context, professionally or socially, because criticizing people, even constructively, has a stigma around it. It just doesn't feel comfortable for many of us to do that. But we shed that discomfort in here by breaking down what went well and what could be done better. We provide personalized feedback in order to do that. Again, this is a judgment-free zone. So if feedback is rendered upon you tonight, do not take it negatively whatsoever. Though we also love to call out the things that went well, because those are also worth celebrating and highlighting. To kick off that process, I'd like to call on Yasmin Rigo, who's going to be evaluating Mumita's wonderful speech tonight. Yasmin.
Thank you, Toastmaster Colin. And speaking of Colin, I know we have some extra time, so I'm going to pull a Colin and act like Rockney does not exist, and we're just going to talk. So I will be up here. I'll be evaluating Mumita's speech. But before I do that, we're going to talk about how Tom's theme triggered me for two reasons. One, I used to go to the Dowd and I stopped because there's always 700 people in there. Even during COVID, I tried to go there and I tried to go at 8 a.m. I tried to go at 10 a.m., noon, 3, 150 people. Terrible. And the fact that I fell doing box jumps also might have something to do with it, but we're not going to talk about that part. Outside of that, my workout of choice is kickboxing. I love to kickbox. It's fun. I get to hit stuff, burn some calories. It's great. There's this other girl that goes there, and my favorite bag is her favorite bag. So like whenever we're there, like we're both like, you know, getting near the door, like when they're about to open it. And it's like always like this thing between me and her, like we both try to get there first. So I know exactly what you mean. Because she tries to show up late sometimes and gets to the front of the line and still get there first. And I'm like, nah. So triggering. But nonetheless, we're going to move on to Mumita's speech that I'm very excited to evaluate today, because the two things that you asked me to pay attention to was your volume and your filler words. I'll start with filler words first. You really didn't have many, maybe one or two ums, but really not much. As far as volume, I'm going to piggyback off of what John said, and I'm so proud of the way you spoke today. Like, I remember when you first came and you were very soft-spoken, and not only was I able to hear you from back there, which I moved because Mumita told me I needed to, because she didn't want me in the front so she could know if I heard. So even from over there, like I could hear you super clearly. And not only could I hear you really well, but you spoke with such confidence and conviction. It was just really pleasant to hear. And something else I'd like to point out was your pace. And I feel like this is somewhere you are always pretty strong. Like the way you speak, you just speed up in the right places, you slow down in the right places, you pause in the right places to really kind of draw the listener in. And it's something that comes across really well in your speeches. Outside of that, I loved your speech as you started and you were like, this person that was born, and I can't remember the year, but you were just kind of starting to talk about Garfield. And I was like, wow, who's she talking about? Like, who's this like change maker? And you're like, Garfield. And I was like, oh, but I loved it because it was just this like fun anticipation, but also this like relatability, something that we all know. But then you also turned it into a metaphor, how something ordinary, you said, became extraordinary through humor and insight. And it was just a really good just thread through your speech. You really brought it together, and it was just a very well delivered speech. And I think that was everything I have. Yep. So I will turn it back over to Toastmaster Colin.
Thank you very much, Yasmin. And again, Mumita, excellent speech. Let's turn things over now to Rockney for a timers report. He's going to break down the minutes and seconds for all of our speakers tonight who are in timed roles. Rockney.
Good evening, everyone. The timer's report for our prepared speech by Momita. She did a great job, 3 minutes and 12 seconds. When it came to table topics, Mike, you came in at 57 seconds. Graham, you came in at 1 minute, 5 seconds. Alan, you came in at 1 minute and 58 seconds. Jose, you came in at 44 seconds. Maisha, you came in at 47 seconds. And when it came to the evaluation of the speech that was given by Momita, Yasmin, you came in at 2 minutes and 3 seconds. So everybody was under time today. Good job.
Thank you very much, Rockney. Next, I'd like to deliver my evaluation, then we'll finish things off with our grammarian's report, as is customary. So tonight, we started on time. Go us. It's always very good, especially on an evening when travel was somewhat impacted, as Alan had said, and others have shared as well. Alan, I just want to point out that I like how your cup and your shoes match one another. And knowing what I know about him, I know he was going for that. That's no accident. That's no accident. But we had a great intro. Eric kicked things off beautifully by welcoming Pooja to the family. Again, Pooja, glad that you're part of it. We'll do the ritual blood pact behind the stage afterwards. So just choose which finger you want that to come from. Okay, don't worry, we sterilized the needle. But Tom, I want to kick things off by shouting out Tom. So let's give Tom a hand for being a great Toastmaster tonight. Tom, how long have you been a member of the club now? Has it been over a year?
No, like 9 months, 8 months, something like that.
9 months, but who among us who has been here for the last 9 months since Tom has joined has noticed how Tom has evolved over time? He's very comfortable up here now. You look very at home up here. That's great. I think that's evident not just in the way that you carry yourself personally around here, but how freely you let your natural wit and humor flow. He's a funny man, as you could tell tonight, and you have funny thoughts that you channel into your speeches and your prepared speaking roles. And I think that when you allow yourself to be a little bit more genuine naturally in here, it's a sign that you're building your confidence and you're just oozing it tonight. So well done there. I thought this was a fun theme. It's not everyone in here goes to the gym. I don't really go to the gym, but it's something that we can all visualize and understand with relative ease, right? We're not talking about chemistry or something that some of us just might have no comprehension of. I do want to point out a couple things that I think could be focused on moving forward. I think, first of all, you did use a couple terms that folks who don't go to the gym very often might not necessarily know. For instance, when he used the term work in, does anyone not know what the term work in means? So there's a couple of us, right? So when you're introducing a term, even if it seems like one that's pretty ubiquitous in the world that you inhabit, it's easy to take for granted that other people might not. So make sure that when you're introducing something for the first time, take the time to really explain what it is that it means. The second thing is that I think there's a numbering thing that I had in my mind when you first introduced some of the tips that didn't actually align with the actual sequencing of the tips themselves. So I know that there was a depth to some of the tips that you had provided where you rattled off some of the exceptions. And I thought that was great. You were thorough. It was easy to follow, but it wasn't sure at times which one was just kind of in a separate category of tip in and of itself. So the first one was about when it's all right to wipe down, a bench that you might've been sweating on when you're grounding out some dumbbell presses or something. And there was another point in there about when to put weight back and how much to put back. And they felt kind of like separate ones. I'm not trying to split hairs here, but the point is that I'm trying to make, I think if you're going to provide a list and you're going to break it out over the course of the meeting, because as the Toastmaster, he's got to keep the thing going. Normally the Toastmaster at the meeting will layer in some of the theme here and there as we go. If you're looking to string those together, maybe just a clear signal up front. I've got 4 tips for you tonight about how to adhere to gym etiquette as I see it should be adhered to, for instance, just to kind of frame in people's minds up front. And if you had said that and I missed it, I apologize, but it didn't stick out to me very much. So I can't remember exactly if you did, but that's just a small thing. The final thing that I want to offer you is that your dry, deadpan humor delivery is awesome. You really crush it. And I think that if you are a fan of comedy and comics and actors, there's a lot of people who have made that their calling card. So that's what you got. That's the hand that you've been dealt in life, and that's great. And you lean into it. I still think at times there's a lever or two that needs to be pulled to inflect or to dial up or dial down the volume in a manner that channels us to a certain focus of what you're trying to say. So if for some of us, it's easy to go up in pitch and go low, like to manipulate the pitch and the tone of your voice. But there's other levers that you can pull to inflect meaning, something that you really want us to hone in on. I think the first one is stress, like how much you stress a word or how lightly or loosely you say that word. And then I think the other one is volume. So you can go high in the volume and you can also go low. So if one of those doesn't come naturally to you, don't change who you are, but maybe lean into one of the other ones that does, so folks can kind of be guided to something that if at the end of the meeting, they're going to take something away, it's going to be that one thing that you kind of called out in terms of your vocal delivery, if you will, if that makes sense. But otherwise, I thought you did a really good job tonight, man. Keep bringing it. That's a case in point that if you come consistently and you do roles consistently and you continue to try and push yourself into more difficult roles, tackling more meaty topics, you're going to improve. And so thank you for providing that example tonight. John, electric inspirational moment as always. I love how he puts in the personal touches. I think it's a Dale Carnegie win friends and influence people sort of thing when you call people out and praise them in kind of a public setting, either to other people or in front of a group. That's a really endearing trait, and I appreciated the kind words personally. Rockney, last minute stand-in, as you usually are, you're always up for the challenge. When somebody bails on a role, or if we've got one that's hard to fill at the last moment, standing in at the last minute. So thank you, Rockney. For some of the other roles tonight, including our speakers, I just want to name a couple people. This isn't to shame anyone, but these are folks who at one point or another, I had a hard time hearing you and had to strain to hear you. Didn't mean that I strained the whole time, but just meant that at one moment or two, I had to strain. So that was David, Tom, Umita, Jose, and Maisha. This is obviously not a very sexy room for speaking. There's a lot of noise going on outside with the storm. The HVAC unit in the back makes a little bit of noise. It is incumbent upon us to speak loud. I know that does not come naturally to all of us. And I do want to echo what Yasmin said, Mumita, night and day from when you first started in the club to where you are now. It was so much easier to hear you all the way in the back, and the richness and warmth in your voice really comes through. So keep chugging on that path. All right, the last thing I want to do is just shout out our table topics participants tonight. We got two guests. We had Mike and we had Maisha stand up. That's a very difficult thing to do on your first visit, so very well done. I also want to say that Graham, Alan, Jose, professional table topics presentation. Jose, I could listen to you talk about food all the time, so keep doing that. If I could give you a suggestion, keep talking about food from the homeland. It was just really pleasant. It hit me right tonight. Alan, thank you for braving the traffic and the weather and everything to be here. It wouldn't have been the same without you. And then Graham, I just want to point out that I've long spent time analyzing the evolutionary design of the chin and why we have chins as a human race. But now I think I know that when you're the king of resting the microphone right on the chin. It's like a microphone rest. And I really do like it. I really do like it. So thank you for giving my chin something to think about and giving chins everywhere a little bit more meaning. So with that, I will turn things over to Pooja for the grammarian's report. Pooja, lay it on us.
Good evening, everyone. I'm here to give the report on all the so's, likes, and everything else. So for Momita, okay. Momita, one time, Mike, so one time, 3 times. We give feedback to everybody. Graham, so twice, twice. Alan, like once. Jose, 3 times, like once. Maisha, once, so once. Yeah, that's my feedback for everybody.
All right, thank you very much, Pooja. And with that, we'll close out the general evaluation segment of the meeting and hand things back over to Toastmaster Tom.
I hate being criticized. It's okay. I forgive you. All right. So my fourth and final tip of the night is number 4, is to get in and out as quickly as possible, or don't take too long on a high value machine. I'm going to explain what I mean by a high value machine right now. This was already in the script. A high value machine is something that everyone wants. So that's going to be like your bench press, your leg press, your squat rack, or some machine that there is only one of in the gym. Because every gym has that random machine that they only ordered one of. And then they have way too many of something else. So this means do not sit on your phone for a long time between sets. Do not hold something for too long, especially by sitting on your phone. I recommend taking maybe up to 2 minutes between sets, but no more. And if you really need to rest for that long, you should go at either a low time or just stop if you can't do it within 2 minutes, and you'll come back stronger and you can do it better. Then do not run circuits at a busy time. A circuit is where you will do multiple exercises at once, back to back. And do not run circuits at a busy time. So if it's a slow time, you can run circuits. However, never, under no circumstances, run a circuit that takes up more than one high value machine at any given point in time, even if it's slow, because if you're just taking up what everybody else wants to use, that's just not cool. Exceptions to this rule: you can sit on a machine for a long time and do a lot of sets on it if you are keeping your time to a minimum. So I don't know how many people have ever observed this before. However, it seems to be a phenomenon that I've seen many times. Gluteus maximus rex will walk into the gym and post up on the single leg press that's in the gym and superset his way all the way up to 16 plates over the course of 30 plus minutes. And I have to be honest, it drives me crazy, but I can't hate on him because he is just going back to back to back to back. So that's an exception to that rule. Outro. I hope that anyone in here can learn from any of the pieces of etiquette that I have put forward and feel more confident going into the gym. Remember, nobody is looking at you. Everybody is looking at themselves in the mirror. And no one is going to judge you for how you look, but you will be judged for how you act. Thank you, everybody. I'm gonna turn it back over to Colin to close out the meeting.
Let's give it up one more time for Tom. So we had 3 guests come in mid-meeting. I want to make sure they have a chance to introduce themselves. But before we get there, we're joined by one of our beloved members, Elvis Lopez, online. Elvis, how are we doing, man?
I'm doing well, thank you.
Excellent, excellent. Elvis, I've got a question for you. So Tom has laid out his gym etiquette manifesto to us tonight. If you were a member of the same gym as Tom, would you leave and go to another gym?
No, I totally agree with his rule. with his gym etiquette. I think it was very on point. I tend to feel the same thing that he was explaining. I go to the gym on a probably not on a daily basis, but 3 or 4 times a week, and those are some of the things that I also feel uncomfortable when it happens. Fortunately, I go very early in the morning when there's not so many people, so I tend to get the advantage of being pretty much on my own. But when I've been there at busy times, it is a situation that I don't feel comfortable, especially by people who don't do things in the way that Tom was expressing, that they're either taking so much time with a machine that there's only one of them, or they are actually not being cool with the others by spending so much time on things that are somewhat, there's some scarcity on some of those tools. So I prefer to be always at a place where there's not a lot of people, and definitely enjoy when there's respect and everybody is trying to get a fair time so that everybody can use it in equal, an equal way. So totally agree with these points, and glad to hear a totally different thing today. Back to
All
you.
right. Elvis has spoken. Elvis has spoken. Oh, we've got a rebuttal.
Elvis, if you ever need a spot, I got you.
I tell you
Thank
what, if those two got in a gym together, people would stop looking at themselves for a minute and look at you two. Yeah. Athenian sculptures, right? That's what I'm talking about. All right. Elvis is our voice of reason, our spiritual shepherd in the club. So if he says everything's above board, then it's cool. So with that, we got a handsome gentleman right here who joined us mid-meeting. Would you mind sharing your name with us, where you're from, and what brought you out tonight?
So my name is Philip Murph. First off, thank you for the opportunity to speak. And this is the second gentleman I met today with the name Elvis. So that's an omen. All right. I am legally blind, and I'm 46 years old. I'm the CEO of Lion Services. We employ people that are blind here in Charlotte. We have about 130 of us that are blind. I came here to obviously help my presentation and bring awareness to the company. So that's why I'm here.
Excellent. Thank you very much. Appreciate it. And then we've got a nice looking duo back here who also joined us mid-meeting. Would you mind introducing yourselves? Oh, okay. All right. She does the talking. I get it.
Good evening. My name is Consuelo Shorter, and with me is Rod Taylor. And we came to kind of try out a Toastmasters group. I've been in Toastmasters before with my job, probably 20 years ago. And so I'm very familiar with Toastmasters, but wanted to introduce him to the concept, as we're always trying to get better with our speaking and whatnot and how we present ourselves. Are you going to say anything or no? Thank you. So he can add to that. So thank you for allowing us to join the meeting today.
Up here, Good evening. Thank you for allowing us to join you this evening, and I'm glad to be here.
Excellent. Excellent. Thank you very much. All right. Well, it was a pleasure having all of our guests join us tonight. You can come back as much as you want. There's no obligation to join. Just come feel out if this is the sort of community you want to dedicate an hour and 15 minutes to on a Tuesday night here and there. There are also a couple dozen other clubs in Charlotte as well. So if this is not a convenient place or time of the week for you, do encourage you to check those out. But I do think that after you do, you'll still like what you saw here. So keep an open mind, but keep us in mind. And with that being said, we're going to close out tonight's meeting. I'm going to bang the invisible gavel. If you have questions, stick around. There'll be members here. I'd be happy to chat with you, and I hope to see you again soon. One love, Toastmasters.